This podcast is a part of the Royal We Network.
Spit on me.
All right, so I have a couple, I got like 3 weeks of vacation coming up, and here's my plan. Now, I want you to tell me if this is a good idea or a bad idea. It's a classic Sam idea for many reasons, and I think you'll agree as soon as I lay it out for you. I have 3 weeks off. I'm just going to walk south as far as I can get in 3 weeks.
All right. Well, I mean, you could probably get, in 3 weeks, you could probably walk all the way to the end of Taiwan and back.
And back, you think?
In 3 weeks? Yeah.
3 weeks?
If you were walking most of the day, I think so. If you don't freeze to death.
Yeah, it's pretty cold right now. I'm thinking as long as I can get into the tropics, because I like around like a little more than halfway is your tropical weather then. You know, like it's going to be hotter the further south I go.
I think it's all about the same weather.
Is it just going to be cold the whole time?
Probably. Maybe if you stick to...
I haven't done any thoughts on this. I haven't thought this through.
If you like stick to the coast, if you go into the mountains, you'll probably freeze. It's snowing up there and stuff.
I'm just going to walk.
And who wants to walk over those big ass mountains?
I'm not going out cover mountains. I'm going to probably stick to like cities and just walk in a general southern direction. And I'll bring a tent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You just pop up a tent somewhere.
No one's going to bother me. I've done that before. I slept in an elementary school once.
Yeah, nobody here is going to bother you. I say that,
Yeah.
but I want to preface this. If this shows up in the recording, for the past hour, there's been some fucking lunatic outside screaming. Like, we've got a local lunatic.
Around your neighborhood?
Yeah. And like, how many of those have you run into here? Like, there's not many.
No, doesn't. Yeah, no. But they keep their lunatics. They keep a lid on them.
Yeah, I don't know what they do with them, but there's one here. I remember telling you like the day I moved in, he came into 7, and I'd walked into 7-Eleven to like grab something, and this guy came in. He's all wild eyed and his hair's all sticking out, and he just starts screaming. He's like rah, 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 screaming stuff in Chinese, and everybody like freaked out and ran out of the store.
They ran.
Well, like they made an effort to get out of the store. They were all like, "Fuck this."
Sure.
And
yeah.
and apparently because I came back and told the people who were living here whenever I first moved, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that guy's around here. He's a little."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He came by and just screamed in my face, and I went, "Hey!" and like kind of yelled back at him, and he looked at me like, "Oh, that guy yelled back," and then he goes and yells at the clerk had to like run him off. He was like, "Get out of here!" and ran him out. And then keeps apologizing to me, and I was the only person left that didn't leave the store. And he was like, "So sorry, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Nah, that's your fault."
Can you
man.
tell anything about what he's yelling about? Is he just screaming gibberish, or is he yelling and he's got ideas? Or
he was yelling. I mean, it was all in Chinese, so I couldn't really make out, you know. But he was just screaming. I mean, screaming, and he had
screaming. Oh,
yeah. And it was more like no, it didn't sound like he's trying to get ideas out. It was just like
describe the guy though. He's disheveled, I imagine.
Yeah, he's kind of tall for a Taiwanese dude. Like, I mean, he's probably my height. And had he was wearing glasses and had long, maybe like shoulder length hair that was just completely disheveled, like completely all over the place.
Right.
But he didn't seem, but he wasn't dressed. He wasn't like a homeless dude or anything. Like he had like a backpack and like normal clothes. It just seemed like he didn't take his medicine or something. Huh. And I hear him every night, and I think it was him. It was out there a little bit ago, just right outside our apartment, like just like.
Top of his lungs, just losing his mind.
Absolutely,
wow.
Like as loud as you can. Just it's like, God,
yeah, you don't get that a lot here. That's like a New York thing, or maybe an American crazy people. I mean, a small town I used to live in, there was like crazy people and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, not so much a thing here. I mean, I guess they do, but also it's more difficult for you and I to parse out who the crazy people are, because if you're just saying stuff in Chinese, you could be saying crazy stuff. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You could be saying absolute nonsense, and we'd just be like, that's a normal guy.
Do you remember when we lived up in Nehu? There was that lady. I don't know if you remember her. She was walking around. She was dressed head to toe in Santa like Christmas outfit all year.
Yeah, she would push like a buggy thing around, like a cart.
Right.
And it had like tinsel on it, and she was dressed like Santa Claus. Yeah, that's the one where she was coming up behind us one day. We were at a crosswalk, and she was coming up behind us, and I said, "Look, coming here."
Look, coming here.
And he went, "What?" And I said, "Look, coming here." And you're like, "What do you didn't understand what I was trying to say?" I'm like, "Look." And you're like, "Look."
I couldn't understand the words.
Yeah, you're like, "Look, coming here." Like, what are you saying? I was like, "Look at the lady dressed like Christmas."
Dude, she must love Christmas time. That's like the only time of the year when she like blends in, and it's like a normal thing to wear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I bet you there's like a time of year where crazy people are just like, yes. I imagine most of the time it's Halloween.
Yeah, because if you just went out dressed as like monsters and stuff, That's a whole different thing. But yeah, if you're dressed like Christmas, like you said, there's only one time you blend in. And even then, like, because I remember it was hot. It was hot as hell, man. And she was dressed like, she was dressed like Santa Claus. And I'm like, that's a commitment to a deep felt idea that you need to be Santa Claus in fucking June here.
You know, like there's like a shirtless guy who's in Nehu, and he used to walk around. He would just be drunk all the time. I'm sure you remember him too. He's hanging out in front of 7-Elevens. Yeah. That's like a crazy I can understand. He's drunk, you know, lonely, you know, whatever. He's just drinking and he's, you know, walking. He actually had a house. I don't know that he was homeless, but Santa crazy. It's not a crazy I really understand.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, and the thing is, Christmas isn't really a thing here. It's not like like this is the first year in a while that I was actually for some reason aware of it, because I remember a couple years. I mean, it snuck. It was just like, oh shit, tomorrow's Christmas, because it's like you don't.
or boy, it's today.
Yeah, because like nobody does anything here. Like it's not like.
Can you imagine that in America? It would never creep up on you in America.
No. Because people
punches you in the goddamn face every trip to CVS.
Yeah, and they're talking about it before Thanksgiving. It's like not even Thanksgiving, and people are like, "I'm gonna go ahead and put up my Christmas tree." It's like you're a crazy person. Give it.
It's magical though. I do like the magic of it.
I do too.
I miss the man.
I ain't knocking Christmas.
No, this is a pro Christmas podcast. Merry Christmas, Nathan.
Merry Christmas, Sam. Merry Christmas, everybody.
There's Christmas spirit in us today here in January.
Oh, man. Real quick, in weird food news.
Yeah.
You know, I don't drink coffee very often. I'm I'm kind of a little bit nauseous right now. So if you hear me like burping and hiccuping and shit.
You drinking a coffee?
Well, I drank one. I went out just a little bit ago to grab some food, and I swung into the grocery store, and I think I was just real thirsty. And I walked down like the beverage aisle, and there's this, you know, all these like weird beverage, and I was like, man, and I saw coffee. I was like, I kind of want coffee, so I got a big can of coffee, and then they had something there. It was just called Vitamin P, and it's in like a yellow can.
What could that be?
And I was like, yeah, that's what it says. It has vitamin B, vitamin C, and A, and I'm like, yeah, I need those vitamins out of a can, a Chinese can. So I was like, okay, so I bought that, and I came back and like chugged this coffee, and then I chugged that. I didn't chug it, but like I just drank.
Oh yeah, I know, sure.
But I kind of did chug them, and then they just mixed wrong. So I've got this like coffee and whatever vitamin P is swirling around in my gut. Yeah, it tasted like a mix between cream soda and then like a little bit of medicine, like they just busted up Flintstone vitamins and put in there. It wasn't great.
Every now and then you get something, and people here, I mean, obviously it's a whole different group of people, it's a different culture, but they'll act like you're crazy for thinking, like,
sure,
like on every shelf in every 7-Eleven is asparagus juice.
Yeah, that seems crazy. Like, I'd never think to drink asparagus juice, and they're like, yeah, no.
Yeah. And then I also broke it off for some time with these people. I said, you know, when Western people drink that, our pee smells weird. And they're like, what?
Yeah. Apparently that's the thing. Not everybody. I brought that up maybe like a month ago to some people, and like the majority of the people thought they're like, what? That doesn't happen. Like, yeah.
They'd never seen Austin Powers, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a good percentage of people. What's like, I got that. What I thought was it looked like cranberry juice. I thought it was little red berries on this. So I thought it was like cranberry tea or something. Once again, all in Chinese. And I just looked at the picture and was like, yeah, those are like little berries of some kind. And I took a drink and it's bean juice.
Yep. Been there,
and I was like, yeah, it's like red bean. And I'm like, that tastes terrible. Like
not like refried bean. Like it's a little sweeter than I think.
There's a little
like a
sweetness.
Sweet bean.
Yeah, but still, it tastes like beans.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Don't. And it took me, because I'm thinking, delicious berries. And then it was like, beans.
Beans. You know what will always get you here is those bakeries, man. I've walked past a bakery and I've been bamboozled about 1 billion times. I walk in there and I'm like, well, that looks great. And then it's nothing but air. There's no flavor to it. It's not sugary. It's just like a puffed air thing.
Yeah, I said the desserts here are like the dream of chocolate. It's like it's like not even a real. You're like, it's like the ghost of a dessert, or they put beans in it.
Yeah, or they do love to sneak a bean.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, hey.
My name is Sam.
I'm Nate.
Welcome to another episode of the Royal We.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying that big 10-minute rambling banter. We're trying to go for the record. If we're feeling it, if we're feeling the flow, we're just going to do a whole episode of banter one of these days. So you guys can look forward to that. What we normally do though, if you guys are joining us for the first time, is we take headlines and we read those.
Yeah.
And we have a conversation about those instead of just our lives. And we don't read the articles because facts just get in the way.
Yeah.
If you guys want to send us headlines,
And
you should, you guys can do that at Royal WeCast on Twitter or royalwecast@gmail.com. You can also just send it to us on Facebook, or if you know us, talk to us. Oh, also, don't send them to Nate.
Yeah.
He doesn't read them.
Yeah.
Send them to me.
Send them to Sam.
Sam. Send them to me.
I don't want to know what they are.
Or to the email or something, because I'll check that. Or you can join us live, Royal WeCast, or twitch.tv/Royal WeCast. Right now we got one viewer. Yay!
Hey.
Talking about crazy people, man. I recently found a rich grease vein. I've been digging through that, but I got some stuff to talk about here.
Okay, right.
Ooh, where was it? Where was that in? I haven't really curated the grease. I don't know what drawers. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to open up the bullshit / what? Drawer today.
That's a good one.
Let's break it up. These are all pretty much crazy people. The man who was trapped in his apartment for 28 years has finally been freed.
Been freed?
Been freed. And if he was trapped...
What was he eating?
That's a great question. Great question, Nathan. At this time, it is unknown what he was eating.
What he ate?
I imagine ordering food.
Yeah, but then you're not trapped.
I'm going to say he was trapped like in an agoraphobic way.
Oh.
I don't know that. Because if he was trapped in like a... Or... No, but they say he was freed. I'm thinking maybe he was so overweight you couldn't leave.
Oh.
Like, did you see that guy? Did you see this crazy thing? There was some Al Qaeda or some ISIS guy that was deemed too fat for jail.
What? But not too fat for terror.
Dude, that's a great movie. Too Fat for Terror.
With Steven Seagal.
That's more of a tagline.
Yeah, too fat.
Steven Seagal is definitely too fat for terror.
That's the Buddha nature.
It's the Buddha nature.
The Buddha.
Trapped. This was 28 years. The man was trapped for 28 years. I don't think it was like under a couch or something. I don't think something like a fell on him and he was stuck.
Yeah, because if you're ordering food and you're stuck, you're going to tell the first people to show up, be like, "Hey, help! I'm trapped in the." Unless it was like some crazy, I'll immediately go dark with it. Some guy trapped in there, like from the movie Seven, like someone is holding him captive.
It does say trapped in this apartment. It doesn't say his.
Right.
Oh.
So he could have been. Yeah, maybe he was being held hostage for 28 years.
Ooh, the word "this" is suspicious. The man who was trapped in this apartment for 28 years has finally been freed.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What's that mean?
I don't know. Yeah.
Is it a Seven situation? Is it a spacey triple play?
It could be, yeah.
Dude, that's one of the best. That's one of the best. I mean, we had a movie marathon that day. We watched American Beauty, then we watched The Usual Suspects, and then we watched Seven. That was the last one.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Spacey was in that. Spoilers, I guess. And when he shows up, I was like, "Holy shit, Spacey triple play!"
It's like, he's in this one too. Yeah, because I don't think you'd seen any of those, right?
No, and it's funny because of those three, I would say I would put maybe Seven number one, and then American Beauty.
Yeah.
And no one's asking me to rank them, but here's my rankings: Seven number one, American Beauty, and then Usual Suspects. I wouldn't even say Usual Suspects. Mm-hmm. The thing about we've discussed this to death, is it's the first one to do that kind of thing.
Right. That's what. So like,
but I've seen a million movies after that, so like,
yeah, like
it seems sort of like whatever.
Right. But I was telling you about it. I'm like, oh, it's great because like I remember watching that when it came out, and it was like you said, and you're like, oh shit, that ending, that twist is nice. But then, like you said, since then, there's been a lot of movies pull the same type of thing. So, yeah. And
I've also seen, like, Kaiser Soze joked about in Family Guy and shit. So I was like, oh, okay.
It kind of, yeah.
But so this guy was trapped in his apartment. And I don't think there's anything else we could say about it, really.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't know the facts, but that's a strong contender for the card.
Yeah, because it sounds like he may have been held hostage.
I remember I was quarantined for, like... I didn't take it super seriously. I mean, that's kind of a shitty thing to say on this podcast in these COVID times. But this was back in February. I had just gotten out of the hospital with pneumonia, and I was cleared. I had no COVID, and it wasn't a thing in Taiwan at that time.
Right.
They tested my blood and everything. So, like, they told me stay in your house for 2 weeks, right? And I was like, got it. And I didn't I mean, I would go down and I wear a mask, I would go get some groceries and come back up. But like, that's the longest I stayed in my apartment. And honestly, it wasn't so bad. I watched a lot of movies. I took a lot of naps. I mean, is this a shitty thing to just be like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. Fuck y'all in America.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Because it's like not even a thing here, really. And I mean, it is, but people pretty much got it under control to the point to where, like,
Yeah, there's never been a lockdown or anything like that.
right.
Yeah, they were pretty chill about it. The CDC would call me every day and be like, what's your temperature? I'd be like, 36. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. All right. Well, in other people news, woman. Here's one for you, Nathan.
Okay.
Woman attracted to inanimate objects
Of course.
marries briefcase named Gideon.
Oh,
Now,
you knew that would
one
upset
would
me.
assume. Yeah. Do you think she named the briefcase Gideon, or she?
Absolutely. It's not a sentient thing to be like, call me Gideon.
Or maybe it's the brand.
Oh, yeah. Samsonite.
Woman attracted to inanimate objects. But how? Now, people marry stuff that aren't people. And what official sense do you think she married this briefcase?
Yeah, I don't know how is that official? How is it a legal binding thing?
And
You
here's
think there's drama in the relationship? Like she makes up like fights in her head and she's like, I'm mad at you.
I bet you it's none of that. No.
I had a dream you cheated on me with another briefcase. And now I'm mad in real life. Look, remember the lady that was in love with a Ferris wheel?
The briefcase mugs to the camera. Does that Jim Halpert? Anyway, what are you saying? The woman what?
Remember the lady who was in love with a Ferris wheel?
Yes.
Or maybe a guy even. Somebody was in love with an abandoned Ferris wheel somewhere in Britain.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
It was like an abandoned Ferris wheel. What a thing to just leave for somebody else to fuck with.
There's one here in Taiwan. They turned it into a park, but it was an abandoned Ferris wheel for a while.
It's like, somebody else deal with this. Well, in Florida, remember there was that whole abandoned amusement park we found?
An abandoned scale replica of the country of China.
Yeah. And
Which we then later on moved to Taiwan.
right.
There was foreshadowing.
And we almost got arrested for being in there.
Well, we very wisely, I don't think we did this on purpose, but we walked nowhere near the no trespassing signs.
Right. And we told them that we just told them we didn't see them.
Didn't you see those no trespassing signs? No, we did not, Your Honor.
No.
Officer, no, we did not.
Yeah. He's like, tell your friends, tell everybody, don't come here. Don't come here.
Well, okay. I mean, we're referencing this. We should explain. We used to live in Florida near Orlando. We're in Orlando near Winter Park is where we lived specifically.
Yeah.
But like a 40-minute drive or so near Disney World, right next to Disney World in Kissimmee was a abandoned, failed scale replica of China amusement park called Splendid China, I want to call it.
Yeah, maybe Splendid China. That sounds like a restaurant.
Splendid China.
We kept calling it Tiny China, but I don't.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't China. Hold me closer, Tiny China. What's that Bon Iver song? Isn't there one about skinny love?
Oh yeah,
split Tiny China. No, it doesn't work. Anyway. Is that Bon Iver?
Yeah. Come on, Tiny China.
Come on, Tiny China. We're just both have to sing it. The fuck was I? What were we talking about?
Tiny China. But yeah, if anyway, we went to go explore it. And there was
was torn to fucking hell.
Yeah, it was like just raves and shit. And it was completely graffitied up. One of my favorite things was somebody on the ground tried to spray paint a pentagram and they fucked it up. And you could see where they went wrong, and we're like, oh, damn it. But they're doing it in spray paint, so they couldn't fix it. And they just spray painted fuck it over top of the.
Yeah, they didn't line up. They couldn't get the star. They're like, shit.
They didn't know how to do a star.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good time in Splendid China.
Yeah. But anyway, we were basically just walking around in there we weren't vandal doing anything.
No, we're just taking pictures.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden this guy shows up and we're like, oh shit.
Taking pictures, excuse me.
We said hi to him. He was in like a truck, like the security guy. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He said, I thought you guys were in here tearing stuff up. I already called the police. And we're like, well, shit.
Shit. We'll adopt your accent. Shit.
Well, shit. So we all just piled in his truck. And he took us to the front where the police like had We just had to basically tell them, we're like, oh, we didn't know. And he's like, for real, you didn't know you can't go into this thing? We're like, we're real stupid.
I thought we were living in America.
Yeah, I thought we could just go into abandoned Chinese amusement parks. But he's like, all right, we'll run
We used to get into some nonsense, man. I mean, we did that. Have we ever talked on the podcast about us going to that island?
Maybe way back. That's something we should revisit at some point. We may have talked about that in the early the lost sods before.
Yeah, this is maybe not be the episode for it. We'll give you the cliff notes. Basically, we took a pontoon boat out into the Gulf of Mexico until we found an island.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't an island. It was a outcropping of dirt that they dug out a channel for oil tankers and they dumped all the dirt in one spot, and then we camped on that spot.
And it wasn't dirt. It was like razor rock that chewed through your shoes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's super fun in retrospect, and we had fun while we were there, but it was miserable. After like the third day, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I got sunburned so bad, and I was so drunk I thought I got trichinosis. All right, well, we'll go do a deep dive on this trip here in an episode coming up. Maybe we'll do that for like our whole episode of banter. That's a good way to talk. We could definitely fill a half an hour of us talking about that.
Yeah,
but to give you guys an idea, it was Nate and I, producer of the show Zach and his ex-girlfriend, our buddy Gary's 14-year-old son and his friend.
Why they were...
So, there were two. Were they 14? They must have been. They must have been around that, like 12, 14. Just
12, 13, yeah.
Yeah. And then us, drunk and dumb.
Yeah.
I was going to say full of cum, but that seemed like an inappropriate thing to say when talking about two 14-year-old boys.
Well, I remember you said you thought you could jack off and hit one of them.
Now, out of context, and we don't have time here today in this episode to me explain the full context.
Anyway, moving on. What's
today's cancel culture, Nathan. You're going to be very careful about my jokes about jerking off into the wind and hitting children.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean, it's like just exactly what it is. There's an annoying kid on the island. She marries a briefcase to Gideon.
I mean, I don't...
But okay, now, this is the point I was going to make about this. And here's the angle that I find frustrating about these news articles whenever we come across one that's like this. Someone is just... TLC is blatantly doing this. They take advantage of mentally handicapped people, mentally ill people.
Yeah.
For news or for clicks. Like TLC's like my... Like where they... like...
My Strange Addiction.
They're just taking advantage of those people. Mm-hmm. Or like there's all those people who need to lose weight and they're like 500 pounds. Oh yeah, 600 pounds.
Yeah, like my 1,000-pound life or something it's called.
What are they doing? Don't put a camera at those people. Help them.
Right. It is exploitive.
I think it's like under the guise of helping them, but it's just exploited. Like, why am I hearing about this lady who married? Give her help.
Yeah. If I remember way back, remember they made that whole show about Gary Busey? And his family tried to sue them because they're like, you're taking advantage of his mental state right now and making him and having him do all this crazy shit. I think it ended up being canceled. I don't know if it had to do with that. I think it was called I'm with Busey, and they just like sent
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was a riot of a show.
It was fun.
But they were clearly, and his family was like, listen, he's not in his right head, and you guys are making this show and having him do all this crazy shit. Like, you got to stop.
Did he got in a motorcycle accident? Just wasn't right after that, right?
I think so. I believe that's what it was.
And he's still with us. Yeah, I mean he's not.
Yeah, he's still with us.
Because I haven't seen him in anything. I mean he's not. He's just completely out of his mind now.
I mean I don't know. He's not been anything in a while because there for a while he was doing that, and then other companies he was doing those Buseyisms, and a bunch of companies got on that, and he like promoted some company, and they would just have him. It was him sitting in a white room, and he would just say something like, "Bad is never good until worse happens." And then you go sign up for this email company or something. And then it was like, what?
How old do you think Gary Busey is?
I don't know. What's this have to do with anything?
Yes, because I just looked it up. I know what he's doing now. I found it out.
Oh, okay.
How old do you think that man is?
Maybe in his 60s?
He's 75.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I mean, he's just chilling in Malibu.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's not doing much. He actually looks pretty good for 75.
75 is never good until 76 happens.
Here's one more in bullshit slash. Bad uncle makes a living scarring.
Wait, start again.
Okay. Bad uncle makes a living scaring other people's children. I thought it was scarring, but it's one R, so it's scaring, I believe. Bad uncle makes a living scaring other people's children.
Bad uncle. What makes him bad? Then he makes a living scaring children.
I guess he's No, he's the bad uncle. Like he's like the uncle you call like, oh, I'm gonna call your bad uncle.
Oh, I see. And then he comes around and
Scares the bejesus out of your kids. Which how do you get that job? I don't think I have that in me, but I mean I love the idea that someone else does.
yeah, that is a crazy job. Yeah, I mean I guess you just put it out there, and someone's like, some parents like, yeah, because parents will do anything like that just to scare. Like one time I was dressed up like the boogeyman. It was around Halloween. No, this wasn't just like it wasn't like a Wednesday. And it was like around Halloween. I was dressed up like the boogeyman or something. But I was in the store, and this kid was like raising shit. He was like screaming about he wanted some cereal or something. And the mom just saw me walk into the aisle and just immediately was like, I'm going to use this. And she goes, and she's like, if you don't quit crying and behave right now, she's like, that thing's going to get you. And he turned and looked at me and scared the shit out of him because I just looked like death. And he was like, bah. She's like, that thing.
Did you play into it?
I just like glared. Yeah, I just stared at him and just walked past, didn't say anything, just looked at him. But I was like, what a funny thing. Well, we were here one time. I remember walking past somewhere, and the same way a kid was going crazy. And the kid's dad pointed at me and said, that man will eat you. If you don't
oh wow,
in English,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and he goes that she's like be good. He's like that, and that man, he goes, that man, I'll let that man eat you. And then he looked at me like, right? And I was like, all right, man.
Am I right, bud?
Am I right? You'll eat him.
Good.
Yeah. And it shut the kid up. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sure if someone saw an ad, it'd be like, I'll just pay this guy. What do you think he gets paid?
It's got to be something reasonable. I bet you he also loves it.
Yeah, he's got to love it.
You've seen that video, that guy who's on an airplane, there's a kid freaking out, and this guy's filming himself just being like, God damn it. And while he's filming himself, some other guy goes, ah, in the kid's face.
Screams in the kid's face.
Dude, God damn it, dude. Kids need that sometimes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because the problem is everyone is being polite. Right? And everyone's just trying to live their own little bubble and be, like, okay, let them deal with it, blah, blah, blah. Which, of course. But, back when, they say it takes a village to raise people, not everyone's not minding their business. Like, if your kid's fucking out, they'd be like, hey, fuck you, kid.
Yeah.
But, like, now the kids don't think that's even a possibility. So they'll, like, really raise hell. You know? Yeah. Whereas that guy, when that guy screamed at that kid, I'm sure that kid was shut up the rest of the flight.
Right. Which was like, I didn't think that would happen. Like, I thought I would get away with it. Where I was teaching, I remember I lost it one day, and I had that one little kid who would just go fucking ape shit all the time. Yeah. He's like going fucking crazy. And for some reason, without even thinking, I just looked at him and went, I will bake you in a bread and ship you to Afghanistan. And then I almost got kind of cracked up at because I was like, why did you say that? But he got this look on my face like, I don't really know what that means, but I'm going to be good.
That makes me laugh. I remember you told me, because I remember you said it to that kid, but you were in a summer camp for. You said that to another kid, or you whipped a candy at a kid back. This is back when you were like in high school. You were like helping out from a summer camp program or something.
Oh no, I was in college. Yeah, I zinged a piece of
Oh, you were in college.
Banked a piece of hard candy off a kid's head.
I remember when you told me that story. There's like some guy there was like out. He saw you and he like danced over like Nathan. Come on, buddy, we can't be doing that.
Like, hey. Yeah, because they were asking these kids questions, and it immediately got out of control because there was like 3 answers that you could give, and it was this designing a like summer workshop thing, and the kid was like, it was like different systems of a car. I don't remember what they all were now, but one of them was control. So you would say, someone would say like steering wheel, and the kids would go control, and you're like, yeah, and you'd toss them a piece of candy. Well, immediately, since there's only 3 answers, this one girl figured it out, and she's just for some reason, she's in like a big office chair, and she's just spinning around in the chair, just going, control. And I was like, and it was all this chaos, and my brain just snapped, and I was like, fuck. So I zinged a piece of candy her direction, and it just went, pow, right off her head. And she's like, ow. Yeah, that was our boss. And he was like, Nathan. No, man, we got it. And I was like, you got it right.
Dude, I goddamn get it. It's so funny because like people who aren't teachers probably listen to us tell stories about being teachers, and they're like, what the fuck? But goddamn, if you have kids, you maybe understand a little bit more. But like, God, they will push your buttons. Yeah. Something fierce, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll put you mentally in places you never thought you could be put.
I teach high school kids now. and they're generally, and they're, I haven't been angry since I started this new job at high school because they're people, you know. But every now and then they do something so stupid. You're like, what did you think? Like for our final presentation, they had to present these videos. I told them, you guys can either come up here and present in person, which you're not going to want to do, or you could record yourself.
Right.
Doing whatever you want. And that's way easier, right?
For sure.
But the video has to be 2 minutes long. And the website I gave them had a upload limit of 10 megabytes. So like, guys, your file is going to be too big. So you've got to put it on YouTube or Google or something. And then put the link on this website. And half of them, the video got too big and that was it. They just stopped. Like it was too big. It didn't work. I was like, so then full stop? So then just nothing? You just did nothing? Why? So you just didn't do your final presentation because the video was too big? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything.
Teacher.
It's just us ranting about being teachers. All right, let's click about this guy in his goddamn apartment.
Yeah, because
There's no other choice, right?
Yeah, we only made it through. Do we even do 3?
I don't know what we did. We just want to talk to each other. Apparently, we got to get a lot of our system next episode. Let's just talk to each other for 30 minutes, and then the banter will be fine. We'll slay the banter here at the beginning of 2021.
We'll kill the banter. It's too much banter built up.
We got the banter built.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's see what's happened.
Let's play the God. This one's got weird energy, man.
It does. We're kind of all over the place.
The man who is trapped. The man who was trapped in this apartment for 28 years has finally been freed. Sweden. Ooh.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Is usually thought of as a friendly and welcoming place, but the 70-year-old mother may have broken that stereotype forever. Whoa.
Okay.
Consequences will never be the same. Emergency rescue crews rushed to an apartment in Stockholm, Sweden, of course, Stockholm, on Sunday after they received reports that the woman had kept her son. Oh, it's
Bummer.
dark. It's the dark Greece.
It's dark green.
Trapped inside an apartment for more than 28 years. He's 41 now.
How?
What's the math? If he's 41 now, minus 21, when did she lock him in there?
Yeah, so he'd seen the outside world. That's what makes it work. Like if he was like raised to be like you.
He was 13.
Yeah. So if you were like you can't go outside because it's the apocalypse, and so they would just never think to go outside. But this kid was 13. He'd been outside, and then suddenly he's stuck.
Yeah.
He's not mentally handicapped or anything, is he?
Man's kid.
I don't even want to know. That'll make it even worse.
Well, he's not doing good. His body's not great. They gave him some. They treated his wounds. He has wounds. He had no teeth. His injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. They investigated the incident. Trapped her son inside the apartment for decades against his will. How did he get out, though? The woman became very overprotective. Neighbors knew the apartment was not well maintained.
You think?
The same Advent candle had been in one window for 30 years.
What?
Okay. However, neighbors did not know the extent of the imprisonment because they would stop to talk to the woman and even see her out in public. However, the conversations would be non-intrusive and stick to the topics like the weather. They would ask her about her son. He'd say she was doing fine. How did he get out? On Sunday, the relative entered the...
So they responded to an emergency call. So someone had to call.
Did I say that?
I thought so, towards the beginning, that they responded to an emergency, or emergency crews responded. I don't know.
Emergency crews responded after they received reports that the woman had kept her son now 41 trapped.
Okay.
They responded to a call. But so what happened was, she had to go to the hospital for treatment. And on Sunday, a relative entered the apartment. Oh my God, can you imagine this? And just found the 41-year-old son sleeping on the floor.
Jeez.
The relative reported the apartment stank and not been cleaned in years. The aroma of urine and rotting. Okay, this one's just a bummer.
This was awful.
This one, I mean, this. Oh.
We're sorry.
This one was a 7 thing.
It was. Remember that time we went to that island?
Gary Busey's doing all right.
Yeah, Gary Busey. On a lighter note, Busey's kicking it up in Malibu. So
that was like one of the biggest bummers we've ever clicked.
Yeah. Just think about Gary Busey.
What did we think it was going to be? We knew it was going to be a bummer.
I was honestly being like, I know that's what it's got to be. I was like, I knew it in my soul.
Oh my God.
Just think about Gary Busey and how happy he is just sitting on a beach somewhere. Because he isn't giving a fuck about COVID. He's just on the beach. I'm biologically immune. And he's just like drinking daiquiris and...
His teeth have finally outgrown him.
I was just getting ready. I was trying to think of something about his teeth. He does have big old chomps.
This has been another episode of the Royal We. I want to thank Kishibashi for letting us use his song intro/pathos off the album 151A. I want to thank all you guys for listening. Let's see, who's joining us here in the chat? I think we got one person in the chat. I don't know who it is, but thanks. If you guys want to listen live, you guys can at twitch.tv/RoyalWeCast. You can also just follow us. You guys can watch the unedited. You can see my face, the unedited sausage.
Yeah.
Before it's crammed into the podcast form. If you guys want to send us headlines, and you guys can, you guys do that at Royal WeCast on Twitter or royalwecast@gmail.com. You can also send them to us on Facebook, in person, however you want to get them to us. Carrier pigeon.
Mail. The mail's a thing.
We got to find some lighter grease, man. We've been like digging, swimming in this deep, dark grease for a while.
I'd say of the past 6-7 episodes, about half of them have been like, oh man.
Oh,
This was the worst one. I think this was the worst one.
Oh, bummer.
So far.
Should we learn about the guy scaring the uncle? This is unprecedented. Should we just come?
Yeah. Let's do it because it's too dark. It's too dark. It's too dark. Even Busey can't ever come. Come on. The world's in too shitty of a spot to end on such a dark note.
Okay.
Let's learn about the bad uncle who scares children on a lighter note.
I hope this isn't a bummer. I hope it's not a bummer. Oh God, I hope not. Okay, let's play another card. Bad uncle makes a living scaring other people's children. A Chinese man has become popular in his home country for adopting the role of bad uncle and scaring strangers' children into finishing their meals and going to bed early.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
He reportedly played bad uncle for a friend's child as a favor, but after recording a very effective video, his friend recommended him to other parents, and before he knew it, he became a bad uncle for hire. He's just like this bald Chinese guy with this crazy looking face. He's just like, he looks kind of like a Chinese Joe Rogan.
He just runs up to kids and asks them if they've done DMT.
Yeah. He sends videos, things like trash should be shown into the trash can. Trash should be thrown into the trash can, don't you know? I will catch you if you don't listen to your parents. If you don't do your homework, don't eat and go to sleep, I'll take you away. Yeah, it's like classic stuff you'd say to a kid.
This man will eat you.
Yeah, I mean, he just records videos of him yelling at kids. That rules.
Yeah, that is pretty good. So they show him like, hey, this is your uncle that you've never met. And look how mad he is that you're not going to bed on time. He's going to come here. You don't want this man to come here and eat you.
Mental intimidation. Oh yeah, there are definitely there. Yeah, he's got a little bit of pushback. Some people are saying that it could cause psychological trauma, and this kind of scare education has limited educational effect on children, but it can have negative effects. Mental intimidation is more harmful than physical punishment. It's not conducive to children's healthy development. Yeah, how about you do your fucking homework, bud?
Sure. Yeah, anything's could have some consequences. Scaring the living shit out of a kid for not picking up his garbage there's probably some in there.
You and I feel like though,
like you said, it's better than punching him.
Better than punching him. Also, not really that guy's fault. In this capitalist society we built up, it's more like the parents are. Don't blame the player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Blame the game.
Blame the game.
Buddy's using his bald head and his grimace to make a little bit of cash. Don't get mad at him because he sells this product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, listen, I got a thing. If you want me to use it, all right. Yeah, who's the devil there?
I don't know. Controversial opinion. I think it's the parents.
Here we go.
And
stamp it.
That's a little bit lighter note.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Speaking of parents, I guess it's a little bit better.
It's a little better.
I'm gonna find only the silliest and lightest and goosiest of goofiest of grease for the next episode.
There we go.
I'm gonna fluff it up like a nice whipped egg, like a nice egg white, fluffy and cloud like.
I'm glad you went that direction for fluffing.
Oh, yeah, because it's light grease.
Yeah.
The sex goo, and I gotta keep the sex goo drawer closed, and I gotta keep the crime drawer closed.
Well, I don't know.
I gotta keep this.
I've got a big list of porn parody names I could read to you. That's pretty light.
All right. Okay, next. That's about as light as it gets. Next episode is porn parodies and banter.
There we go.
Here we go.
There we go. This is a weird one.
We done the energy. This one's real
weird. Weird
We've
energy.
already closed it up.
Yeah.
Weird, wild stuff.
Weird
the energy's
stuff.
Real weird.
It's called Mercury's and Gatorade or something.
Yeah. All right. Good night, Dad.
Goodbye.
Too fat for terror.
with Steven Seagal.
That's more of a tagline.
Too fat.
Steven Seagal is definitely too fat for terror.